I like to use my celebrity to get the word out about diabetes. About almost 11 years ago now, I had put on a lot of weight. I did Leave It to Beaver. I've done many things in my life. And in the 80s, I was lucky enough to go back and do the new Leave It to Beaver. And I worked on that for almost 11 years. And there's 109 episodes of the second show. And then I thought, you know what? I've been away from my kids, because when you're doing a series, a lot of times you're working anywhere from 10 to 14 hours a day. I'm going to lead the good life. I'm going to retire now because I can afford to do that. And to me, and I think like a lot of Americans, the good life was going out to eat, and when the waitress would come up and say, you have the regular portion, you have the queen portion, for, a few cents more, you can get the king portion. Of course, I ordered that king portion, and I wasn't exercising a lot because I thought, well, you know what? This is retirement. I don't have to exercise. And I started to put on a lot of weight. And I put on almost 60 pounds. And I looked around me, and everybody else that I saw, there were a lot of people overweight, and they all seemed like they were leading the good life too. And I have a very, very good friend who's a doctor. And I was getting to be 50, and she kept telling me, you need to come in for a physical. This is the time in your life you need a physical, because she knew what was probably going to be the outcome. However, I didn't. And I kept saying, I see you when I'm sick. And, you give me medicine, I take it, and then I'm better. But I don't need a physical. I'm doing great. So for my 50th birthday, she gave me a present. She said, you know what, I'm going to give you a free physical for your birthday. That's going to be your birthday present. I said, fine. Went in, took the physical, walked out. 3 days later, I went back, and she said, now, I know you have those 3 beautiful children. How'd you like to see them graduate from high school? And I said, of course. And then get married? And I said, yes. And she said, when they have grandbabies, don't you want to hold your grandbabies? I said, absolutely. I'm leading the good life. And she said, if you don't do something about your diabetes, you'll be dead in 3 to 5 years. I was walking around with blood sugars that were between 450 and 500 all the time. I knew that I was overweight. I knew that I was very tired all the time, but I wasn't worried about it. But because she was a good friend of mine and a doctor, I said, okay, this is really something that I have to pay attention to. This isn't just somebody telling me something. This is somebody that knows. And one of the big problems I see with diabetes is it's a very back-ended disease. When you first get it, and I'd had people telling me before that I had high blood pressure and high cholesterols, but you know what? I didn't feel sick, and since there was no pain, I thought, I don't have to do all that to gain anything because it's not bothering me. I can beat it. One of the things about diabetes is you can't beat it, but it's back-ended. When you hear that you have diabetes, you have to go and once you're diagnosed, you have to start treating it. The treatments for me, were not that tough. I was on insulin for a little while. I lost the weight, and luckily enough, for the last 10 years, I've been on diet and exercise. But that's not the case with a lot of people. You need, when you're told you have diabetes, to be compliant and take your medicines. There's about 24 million people in the United States that we know have diabetes. Now, that's just a statistic, but 8 million of them don't know they have it. We know they have it because of the statistics. 8 million of them know they have it and actively treat it. But there's that other 8 million. They've been diagnosed, and what do? They were like me before. They say, you know what? It's not bothering me. I can just learn to live with it. You can learn to live with it for a while, but in the end, it's the leading cause of blindness and amputation in the United States. Every hour, there's about 250 limbs amputated because of diabetes. It's a very, very frightening disease. And so I like to use my celebrity to get the word out there. If you think you might be at risk, if you have a family history or you're overweight, it's very, very simple. You go to the American Diabetes Association. They have a little pen and paper test that you take that are 8 questions. If you answer those and come up with a certain score, then you go in and see your doctor and get diagnosed. And definitely go in for those physicals so you can find out.